Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Financial Juneteenth, but we're doing financial lovemaking right now, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm here with my buddy, partner, and co-host, Miss S. Tia Brown. How you doing today, Tia?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I totally just did like one third of the intro, which you might have noticed, but it's because I'm trying to get back into the rhythm. Because I've had about a week where my voice has been totally gone, and but I haven't felt bad. I felt good, but I've had no voice. So now I'm just getting back in the swing of things. How are you doing in New
I'm
York?
doing okay. I lost my voice a few weeks ago as well, so I definitely understand how you feel. Cough drops, tea, vocal rest, and maybe a trip to the doctor if it doesn't clear up soon. We have to take care of ourselves because these kind of small things can snowball.
Well, thank you for that wonderful advice. I
That
really
funny moment.
I appreciate that. I really do. Now, you had something that you wanted to talk about today that you brought up to me. I thought it was a pretty interesting story. Can you tell me what it was?
I saw this awesome article on Financial Juneteenth, your site, and it links back to another story on Inc.com, which basically talks about this research that came out of Washington University in St. Louis that found that having a great spouse basically means for a better financial life, a better professional life, and a happier life overall. And the study shows that people who have prudent and reliable partners perform better at work. They get more promotions, they make more money, and they have a greater feeling of job satisfaction and overall happiness. Why? Because they chose wisely at home. And from a very basic perspective, we know that having a good partner does what? That gives you someone who's going to create accountability for you professionally, someone who's going to be your cheerleader, supportive. When you have those big ideas, that's the person that's going to say you can do it, make that presentation. I believe in you. They're also going to be someone who holds you accountable financially and emotionally for the good and the bad things that you do. And last but not least, they're the person that you're going to cuddle up to at night to celebrate those victories, or when you've had a loss. So, this just really supports our whole financial lovemaking platform. So I was so excited when I saw it. So it reminds people it's really important to choose wisely, not just based on this, which is the backside, or this, which is someone who's looking successful because they have a couple of stacks. What do you think, Boyce?
You know, I can't help but to agree wholeheartedly because I remember when I was breaking down life for one of my girls, and I said, think about your life as a series of 24-hour days. So you can really break down your whole life into what you do in a 24-hour period because you pretty much kind of do the same thing over and over again after a while when you hit a certain point in adulthood. So I said, look, in 24 hours, you spend about a third of that time at least sleeping, right? So you chop off 8 to 10 hours, let's say 8 hours, and then you're spending 2 hours a day getting ready for work, coming home from work, going to work, right? So 10 hours of your day is already gone. So you got another, 14 hours left. Well, out of that 14 hours, you're going to spend about 8 of those hours at work, maybe more, depending on what kind of career you pick. And then you've got, what do you have left? You have your personal life. That
Mm-hmm.
last 4, 5, 6 hours, that's the time you're going to spend with the person you love, with your kids, at home, with whatever family situation you have. So I said, look, here's the formula for ruining your life. The
What is
formula,
the formula?
the formula for ruining your life is to either A, pick a career that you hate, or B, pick a spouse who destroys your life as opposed to improve your life, right? Um, that's it. I mean, if you do one of those two things or both, then you will have a miserable life because coming home, there's nothing worse than coming home to a person who is not in sync with your goals, who brings chaos to your life, who is making you less happy than you were before. There's nothing worse than going every day to a job where you're
Yeah.
miserable. I mean, you're going to spend a third of your life on that in that career, whatever it is you do. So the dumbest thing you could do, I know I'm gonna call people. I'm not calling people dumb if they make this mistake,
But
but
it's a dumb
the
choice. It's
biggest,
a
right?
bad
We,
choice.
we we all make dumb choices, right? The dumbest thing any of us can do is to just pick a career based solely on money, right? If you pick it solely on money and you hate everything else, then think about what you're doing. You're dedicating a third of your life to something that means nothing to you other than a paycheck at the end of the day. So, but we're not talking about the paycheck side. We're really talking about the relationship side. But I can
But,
say,
but let me just interject
oh,
there.
please go.
And the reason why it's dumb is because there are careers that can be built on doing what you love. And I think people forget that option. Like you can make a ton of money doing something that you love. Boyce has a great career doing what he loves. I have a great career doing what I love. And we might not be rich, but there are people who are rich doing what they love. Continue.
No, absolutely. I think you're absolutely correct, and I think one of the things I've observed is that the difference between people who get to do what they love and those who don't is really a matter of courage. Just the desire to kind of take that risk and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and push in that direction to get in a place that I want to be in my life. And I had to, I remember when I had to go through that and how nervous I was about shifting my academic career because there was a path, there was a track I was supposed to take because I had this PhD and I was supposed to go to academia and I was supposed to do all this dumb crap, and I was like, this is stupid. This is a waste of my life. My life is too important for me to waste it doing something that doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna find a way to see if I can do something else. But it wasn't easy. It was hard. So almost like almost a little bit like trying to immigrate to another country, and you got to go through these hills and valleys and mountains, and it's a long hike, and you're nervous. You don't know what's over the horizon. Like that's how you feel when you're kind of going to this new territory. But eventually, you find a new town, you settle down, and you find this whole new life that you never knew existed. And that's kind of how I feel about my own career. I can say that from a personal standpoint. But going to what you were saying about picking the right spouse or the right partner in life, I cannot overemphasize how important that is. Relationships, marriage, all of that is the ultimate merger. You are merging your life with another person.
Absolutely.
I mean, your most valuable asset that you have is your life. You're kind of giving, you're making someone else the CEO or co-CEO of your well-being, of your
That's a
existence.
great analogy. That's
Yes,
a great
and so
analogy.
so why in the hell, if you had a $1 billion company, why in the hell would you let somebody else become the co-CEO of your $1 billion company when you have not properly vetted that person?
And
Or you just pick that person to be the co-CEO because they're cute. But think about that. That's what people do. Oh, he's cute. I like him. Or she's so pretty. I'm gonna just bring her in my life and just take everything I work for, everything I am, everything that makes me happy, and put it in their hands. And then 5 years later, you are miserable and your life's in total chaos. And it's because you didn't vet the person from the very beginning. I think that that's something that we have to really think about.
I absolutely agree. And I would say the biggest point I want our listeners, our viewers to take away from this is that you pick a spouse based on how you value yourself. You made a comment saying, why would you let someone be, who's just cute or handsome or seems to have something that's attractive, whatever it may be in charge of this $1 billion company, which is you, right? This $1 billion brand. It's because we all don't recognize that we're worth that much. So I would like our listeners, our viewers to take this away. Look at yourself as the most important company that can ever be owned, and pick all of your C-suite, your friends, your spouse, all of those things based on that value. And you will definitely have a happier, healthier, and financially more wealthier life.
Yep.
What do you think, boys?
Financially more wealthier. I love it.
Financially,
I have to clown you because I was jacking up grammar earlier
I
myself. So,
know, I know,
but people
I
just have to
know.
forgive us.
Financially wealthy.
We did go to school, everybody. I want you to know
Still messed up.
it's okay.
Financially wealthy. Be courageous. Be courageous in your personal life, not just in your professional life, but be courageous in your personal life too. Take the time to find someone who values you, and you will have everything you want.
I think that yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that really just, what I concluded was that picking that partner in life, it is a little bit like picking a job or a career. And if you think about why people pick their jobs or their careers, there are different motivations. Some people pick a career because just solely because of the money, something very simple, one dimensional. Same way we might pick a mate just because they have money.
Mm-hmm.
We might pick a mate just because they look good, or for one, literally one criteria. It may even be the fact that they said one thing that triggered this
And
interest
you
that we
become
have.
fixated on that.
Right, exactly, and I think that that usually is a mistake when you make any major life decision on a one-dimensional criteria without really taking the time to think it through. But then also, if you look at the way people might pick their careers, which I'm analogizing to picking a partner, some people pick a career because that job makes them feel better about themselves. They feel that somehow I've been elevated, my status, my value as a human being is now elevated because I have this job. So they may take a job that either doesn't pay them what they want, or or stresses them out to the point where they're miserable or whatever, because but they endure that because having this job, being the chief of staff for the mayor or whatever important job we think we have, it makes us feel better. We can go and we can brag to people, we can show off our job. And think about that. Some people pick a mate and they show off their mate, and the person's a pain to deal with and they're ruining their lives, but they're so proud of showing this person off because they feel that being with this person, being next to this person, makes them a better person. And I think that sometimes it can make sense, right? Because a lot of us are trying to figure out who we are and gain our status in the world. But then there's a point where you kind of realize, like, how much am I willing to sacrifice in order to feel better about myself? Maybe I am somebody already without needing this external validation to feel better about who I am. And then I think when you get to a more self-actualized space where you feel a little bit better about who you are, you know a little bit more about what you want, you're willing to take the risk to get to where you want to get to, you start picking careers and mates in the same way. You don't pick a job anymore just based on one dimension of criteria or just based on how much money you make. You don't pick a job just because it makes you feel better about who you are, because you already feel good about who you are. You pick a job because it makes you happy, right? Because it makes your life better as opposed to making your life worse. Same thing with picking a mate, right? You get to a point where you say, you know what, I've dated the really attractive people, and I can just talk about, my own journey, right? Okay, yeah, I've dated a pretty girl before. I've dated the girl that makes me feel like I'm a better man. Now I know I'm an okay guy. Now I'm gonna pick a woman that's gonna make me happy, right? And I think, so the same thing when you talk about, whether you talk about picking a job, picking a mate, or even picking a pair of shoes. There's a point where you say, you know what, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I just want to be comfortable, and I'm not going to destroy my life in order to have this thing that somehow validates me. I'm just going to seek out a sense of well-being that I can carry with me everywhere I go. And I think that analogy applies to almost everything that we do.
I absolutely agree. And what I'd love to have our viewers do is share with us those aha moments that transformed your life that and allowed you to put yourself, your job, your career, your passion, and your mate first. All of those things in priority in a way that have really been transformative. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye bye.
Bye.